Well, I'm keeping this part in because I fucked up
Which
uh,
part?
this part right now, where I accidentally started streaming to Twitch. Luckily, I caught it myself. But this film section, talk about a movie every week. Today we're talking about Dune. I guess I'll build character development. This was a movie I was mildly interested in because of the talent involved. Um, and it's coming from a book that's of big importance. The, it's a genre redefiner or genre definer in some cases. Uh, it was largely considered an unfilmable book, the same way Lord of the Rings was. But you try enough times, you may get it right at some point. Mm. But yeah, Ernest, you got any? Cause you read a little bit of the book, yeah.
Uh huh. A little
So
bit.
yeah, I guess you had a little more interest, I guess, going into it than I did.
I got the book because of the movie. Wanting to read the book before watching the movie. I didn't do that because I'm lazy. So I just
It's a
saw the
big
movie.
book.
I
It's a
think
big
the
book.
movie encouraged. Yeah, it's a big book. The movie encouraged me to want to read the book now more. When I find the time, I want to go ahead and do that. See what's up. Start over
Uh,
from the beginning and
yeah.
just do the whole thing again.
Book is huge though, right?
It's a big boy.
It's a big boy.
The big boy, and it has
Parts.
very very fancy architectural, very adequate, out of this world writing, which my tiny brain, my smooth ass brain can't understand sometimes. So I have to like do a couple of redrafts and like, oh, what did he say? Oh, that's what he said. Cool.
Let
Thank
me
you.
just read that like 5 times.
Yeah, let me just read like, what does that mean? Oh, that's what that means. Okay, that makes sense.
Oh boy. And I guess that kind of carried over to the movie now, didn't
I'm reading up. Well, I understood the movie more than the book. Well, from what I fucking read.
it?
Like I was hanging in there. Like I wasn't lost in the book. I understood the beginning. Of course, it was pretty easy to get into. I'm not sure I remember it that much as I do now, but yeah. Then we got further in. I'm like, oh, they're talking up. Are they talking about the visions? I think. Oh boy,
what is
this
the
movie's pretty.
what's the
Look at the pretty colors.
what's the Bene Gesserit? Shut
Yeah.
up, Hans Zimmer is playing that fucking music. God damn it! Like what the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the fuck indeed?
Oh, I was what the fucking to whatever you were gonna what the fuck to, thinking something happened, but nothing happened.
No. Yeah, no. Hans Zimmer is a great composer.
That was very passive aggressive. I don't think you believe that anymore. I
I
don't know.
don't
You
know.
said
I
it.
don't know if I do either. I don't know if I do either because it seems like everything he does now is like super pretentious. And it's like I'm listening to it. It's like I don't know if I'm supposed to understand this. It's like am I supposed to like this? But are you just mashing electronics until you make a sound? Is that what we're doing here?
I don't know. I know Hans Zimmer is very involved into the films he's
Hmm.
composing for. Like no, he like I'm pretty sure he reads the script for the
The
like it's not.
composer usually either reads the script or sees an early edit. They
Mhm.
can't start composing, like actually recording music, until a rough cut of the film is made.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he gives his own two take on how to do the movie. Sometimes I would be surprised.
Yeah, in like rare
Like
cases, the composer is hired really early on or is brought in early to work on the music, like Hilder, Good Night Tear, and Joker. Michael Giacchino for the Batman was hired as the composer literally like a year before they started filming.
bong 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 bong.
Uh, yeah, like John Williams was brought in early in the newer films, the prequel and sequel trilogy. He was brought in early. to kind of do
Star
the
Wars.
music.
The Star Wars.
It's rare, but it's definitely something with like Dune. Hans Zimmer was definitely brought in early to
I'm
kind
pretty
of
sure that was the first person they fucking wanted.
yeah. It's like, oh, we're making a movie that's like really pretentious. Hans Zimmer.
Oh man, you keep saying that. Oh, you'd be better. Ooh,
The score is fine.
that's a hot take already. Thank.
It's atmospheric, and in Dolby Atmos, it sounds like amazing. But once you start listening to it, it's like, okay, you sure are doing a lot of atmosphere. The music's paired better with the movie than it is just listening to it on its
That's true.
own, which is what all good film score should do. It works better when it's paired with the film, but it should be something that's like, oh yeah, I can totally like listen to this just on my own. Like, this is totally just cool to listen to. But
Mm.
with something like Dune, it's like no, no, this is definitely made to be with the film.
I think I would read the book while listening to it.
That could work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like it's a short score. It's like a 2-hour score or something like that.
I'm pretty sure each song was like 10 minutes fucking long.
That's a great. Actually, no, I think this was actually one of his shorter
Really,
scores. Yeah,
really.
because how he does like his score and then he does the sketchbook.
Yeah.
So the main score was an hour and 14, and then his sketchbook, each track was 24 minutes, and it's an hour and 42 minutes album. And then
Like, What's the longest song?
I don't know.
Like,
They're all 24 minutes. And then he did one more album for Dune that's paired with the art book,
hmm.
and it's like this the soul of Dune or something like that.
I want Hans Zimmer to do video games again. He has
Please, please do
some pretty
games again. Yeah,
killer video
the
game
the art and
stuff.
soul of Dune companion book music, and it's an hour and 44 minutes.
Uh,
There's over 6 hours of music for Dune, and it's only
that's a
one
long
movie that's 2.5 hours.
half a movie. You mean?
That's half a movie. Yeah. I guess we should actually start getting into our review at this point. Let's talk about the movie because, other than the score, because this movie has major issues, in my opinion. This movie has major flaws in
Uh,
its
we will.
in its
We will.
in its
Uh,
not necessarily okay. The movie does its storytelling best when it's purely visual. I think I realized that when thinking back on the film. It does visual storytelling very well. Like the scene with Paul on Caladan when he's about to leave and he feels the water for the last time before he leaves to Arrakis. It's like, oh, that's good. That tells me exactly what that character is thinking. But then when they need to tell us stuff, that's when it kind of feels a little flat.
all right. So how are we doing this? Are we breaking it down scene by scene, beginning to end, or are we gonna
I
just how
forgot
just
I forgot half of this film. I remember like the beats, just like the
all
main
right.
things.
All
I
right.
don't
So I guess
remember every single bit of the film. Like we can go like main most important stuff.
I think we can go important stuff. I think you can start with breaking down what you thought the film did worse and explain this by the scenes that you do remember.
Yeah, yeah, no, that works. Yeah, I'll do my best because I saw this movie a week ago, so it's kind of
I
fading
saw a
in my
lot more
memory a
recent. I
bit.
saw a lot more recent.
Yeah,
I'll say that. But
I wanted to get this out a little earlier, but how schedules work and how things work, it's different.
mhm.
But yeah,
So yeah, you can go ahead.
yeah. So first thing that I remember is well, the opening introduces us Chani played by Zendaya, is telling us about Arrakis and her people, the Fremen, and how they are viciously tormented by the Harkonnens. Already, you got three things thrown at you:
The
Arrakis,
Harkonnens are,
Harkonnens, Fremen,
are like albinos.
and spice.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess spice is the most important thing in the universe. I don't know why, but it's the most valuable thing.
You don't know why? They say
I
why.
I
Really?
guess it must have just flew by.
Did it?
I don't remember why it's so important. Like I could just I either completely missed it or it was just gone. Like I don't remember why it's so important.
Yeah, I do believe you missed it. They mentioned the benefits of what the spice does, its worth, how it helps them, and of course they mentioned the heightened senses that it gives you and whatnot, what it can be converted into. Not so much what it can be converted into, but definitely the benefits of it, of spice.
And those are
And it's also the fact that it comes from a very it's only comes on one planet
yeah,
only, so
Arrakis.
yeah, it's very rare thing
But
to
why
have it.
is it so important?
Well, we mentioned the
Is
heightened
it just
senses
is it just
and how
valuable because it's only on Arrakis?
no, like again, we mentioned the heightened senses that it has. We see that the people of Arrakis
The Fremen
are
specifically.
hmm?
The Fremen specifically.
Yeah, the Fremen. They're very
They have
you know
a
how
yeah, in,
they got blue eyes, heightened senses and
because
whatnot.
of overexposure to spice.
Hmm.
Yep, I remember that. And the Harkonnen rule over um, Arrakis until the Emperor of the universe. Okay,
Of the Imperium, I believe
the
they called it the
The
Imperium.
Imperium. Yep. Suddenly gives over the rights to lead and to control Arrakis to the Atreides family and to Duke Leto Atreides specifically, who is the father of Paul Atreides, our main character. And at that point, the title card Dune Part 1 flashed, and I went, oh, it's
I
gonna
knew it.
it's gonna be this kind of movie. I was like, okay, get ready for a
You know,
lot of
hold
nothing
on.
satisfying.
At least okay, hold on. At least it's only two parts,
Two
but
parts. But there's more
damn,
books after Dune.
it makes you wonder how did you how did you feel watching Lord of the Rings if that's your mindset going into
Well,
this
because
movie?
that wasn't my mindset going into the movie. That was what the movie prepared me for. Because it
All
started
right.
and I went, okay. So the movie goes, okay. The movie literally starts going, okay, full warning. Like, this is what it's going to be. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, hit me with it. And I was just sitting there like,
Yeah.
okay, here we go. Let's do it. Let's do
Yeah.
this. Two and
It's
a half
gonna
hours.
it's gonna be part one, and
And you're not going to get all the answers, and you're not going to get any real satisfaction in the films when the film is over because
that
it
is true.
wants you to get the next part. Um, but we'll talk about reasons later as to why
Yeah,
it's
that I
not
do
going to
agree
do
with.
that.
But damn, I wonder how you would have viewed Lord of the Rings watching that at the time.
Well, that's the thing. It's like that I am being a little impartial to Lord of the Rings because I have all three movies, but I I think the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, while a longer film, does a much better job at making you feel satisfied enough to want more. When you leave when you leave Fellowship of the Ring, you know a lot, but yet there is still left open
Uh,
more,
we
like Dune
we did talk
does.
we did talk about this.
We do,
It's more conclusive. Lord
it's
of the
more
Rings, Fellowship of the
conclusive,
Rings,
and
but
you leave satisfied.
yeah,
Like it's
Dune
like
definitely leaves me not so much satisfied,
no
but
empty,
more curious on the rest. Curious on the rest. That's what I mean.
curious, but
I don't feel empty, because I think the ending was pretty subversive on the decision that Paul made.
Yeah. Cool, because the movie's
Sorry,
telling you one thing, so when it
you know,
happens, you're like, oh,
sorry,
okay,
sorry, little fuck over here. Don't mind me.
that's fine.
Yeah, but the decision that Paul made in the end was pretty subversive, and it made me think, oh, there's definitely something to gain from this. Let's see where this goes. I'm very curious on that fact. Not
Okay.
again. I'm not satisfied with the end. Like, oh, that was such a good ending. Oh, nothing like that.
Yeah. It just kind of ends.
Mhm.
I mean, it literally, like, it basically just, like, cuts to black and it's over.
It really does. Yeah,
And I was like, oh,
and
it's
it's
over?
like and then this Infinity War is the ending of a character's journey, while in Dune is basically the start of a character's journey.
Even in Fellowship of the Ring, it's technically the start of the character's journey, but it feels like it hit a crescendo. It hit a turning point in the character's journey, but it was still an endpoint for who they were before this.
Yeah,
So it feels like, okay, this character is done. Frodo in the Fellowship of the Ring to Two Towers is a completely different person because of what happened in
yeah.
Fellowship.
The fellowship ends. That's
Dune,
basically.
Paul definitely changed at the end of this film, but I didn't get a good enough sense of who Paul was before Dune Part 1. If that makes any sense to you.
Well, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this to you, but on what I felt Paul was, but more on that
Yeah,
later, right?
I guess, yeah, we can start getting into Paul now because, right.
Oh,
So,
now then.
Paul, he has breakfast with his mother, Lady Jessica, who I guess we learn has special abilities called the Voice that she was trained in by the Bene Gesserit. And something the film doesn't really mention is that, or at least doesn't bother to mention, is that Paul is not the first man to be taught in the ways of the Voice, but that specifically men are not supposed to be taught the ways of the Voice,
Or just their ways overall, their
or their ways,
powers.
the way they call it, the
Yeah,
way
the way.
overall. That's not specifically mentioned, and I feel like that was important information.
Uh doesn't her mother, basically the old lady, have like an outburst
Oh,
on her doing it?
what, the Gomjabar, was that her name?
Yeah, I think so.
There's a lot of
Like
just names in
I'm pretty
this.
sure there's two instances of where they mentioned it. It was her saying like, you stupid bitch, you shouldn't have done that." Ugh. And with Paul's dad being like uh mentioning how he had a son instead of a daughter, and it's like,
Yeah,
okay, I trust you on this.
but the Bene Gesserit are looking for the one, and the one is supposed to be a guy. So that's where I guess that's where I get a little like, what? What do you want? So you want to make the one, but you don't want the one to know the way of the Voice because, and I guess I assume we'll get those answers in part 2 because Jessica is clearly holding things back from Paul, as we learn later on. Um, but yeah, Paul is very good with his voice.
Now that you're mentioning all this, maybe that was Paul's mother's plan. Like based on what the movie tells us about the whole being against the birth of a man, of a male, it's that maybe back then she herself saw, I guess, Paul's future dreams. Not that they say this, of course. This is just what I'm going for with, and then with Paul's father talking about how he trusts her on this choice for them
They
having
were
a
also never
child.
married.
Yeah, that wasn't never
They
made.
were
I don't
never
know what that was
married.
for. I honestly have no idea what that was for. No clue.
It was weird because they called her concubine, and I was like, wait, aren't you? And then Leto goes, we should have married, and I was like, wait, what?
mm.
But whatever.
but, but this is all, I guess, part of the bigger picture for her. She knows something that they don't,
And she will
and
not tell us until part 2.
and she will not tell. Yeah.
Yeah, Jessica's got some devious vibes.
She is very devious.
She is not okay.
I definitely like the parts where she's very scared for her son's life.
Hmm. She
That's
clearly, yeah, loves her son.
that's actually a really neat detail that I found because what really defies character is their actions in a lot of work, and this movie I thought had a lot of great character moments with what the characters did to really define them. Paul is a little more complicated though.
Yeah, because a lot of what Paul is supposed to be is reliant on that next movie, it seems like. And so you don't get too much out of Paul in this one, which was a problem for me.
I want to say that we do, but
We learn a lot more about his future, or what his future may be, as opposed to what he is now.
yeah, here's the thing. I think the payoff of him denying that fate that he was supposed to die to become something, I think that's a really neat payoff.
Yeah, what was the phrase they were using?
I don't know. I don't know what
Yeah,
it was though.
it was some like weird phrase.
It's some kind of fucking DD for.
Because they were calling him throughout the film
I don't believe you are the blah, 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 blah.
all something.
Yeah,
Yeah, all something.
but yeah, I believe that is a pretty neat payoff where he killed someone who was eventually supposedly meant to guide him on the way to the desert, but he killed them.
Yeah,
That's a neat I think that's a pretty neat payoff,
but it also
given what the
provides a lot of confusion for the viewer who doesn't have, I guess, a sense of understanding as to what's going on. So the viewer sees that and goes, wait, what? So he's not. So he's going against his what his vision is, but what does that mean? And I assume we're gonna get our answers later.
well, basing it on what he said in the near end was
Well, because he said
carve,
yeah, he was gonna find his way in the desert. That's what his destiny was supposed to be.
mhm, carve his own path
Carve his own
there
path.
in his own way, which is which is actually pretty which is a lead back, a callback to their
Uh,
meeting, to his meeting with his father
yeah,
up in the mountains in Atreides,
it
talking
Caladan,
about
Caladan,
Yeah, Taladan. I forget
Caladan,
planet names. Got Caliban, Taladan. What is it?
Caladan.
Taladan, the water planet.
Yep.
Yeah, was a callback to that moment where they were talking about really how he didn't want to become what was the king? That's not king, right?
Not
The
king,
Duke.
the
Duke.
Duke, the Duke.
Yeah, the Duke. That
Which is
wasn't what he wanted
odd
to
because if
become,
he's a Duke, that means there is a king
which I assume to be the emperor
of the Imperium.
of yeah. I guess in the Imperium is
So okay,
everything there.
so I guess that there's a lot of house politics in this.
Mhm.
Um, this is Game of Thrones in space.
Yeah, the sci-fi world of Dune is very contradictory of itself. They have big giant lasers on spaceships, but they fight with swords most of the time.
Yep.
But and they do have pistols and weapons apparently, but they don't fucking
The
use them.
Fremen do,
The Fremen do, but
but it didn't seem like the Harkonnen or uh, the Atreides clan had guns.
the Harkonnen had this weird laser to open doors. That would be really neat
Yeah,
in combat, wouldn't it?
it would, wouldn't it? I do like the
Oh well,
concept of the shields. I think it's actually really cool visually. It sets itself different apart
it is, but
from.
it really brings out the question: why didn't you just use armor
Why don't you?
for
Well,
your?
they are wearing armor.
But it doesn't work.
No, because the shields matter, not the armor.
Well, in fairness, they do uh target the neck most of the time.
Yeah, I did
You could
notice
see
that they
that,
were constantly going for the neck and not the stab. They were going for slashes at the neck.
and then it's
And
like,
you can constantly
huh?
see people slicing throats.
Yeah, and then it's like, huh? For if this happens often, you should really do something about it, huh? Shouldn't you, huh?
Maybe you should wear a helmet or a neck
Yeah.
brace.
Yeah.
You
Mm.
know, wear some Zod armor. I don't know.
No, don't wear that armor because it looks
CGI,
ugly.
the CGI armor.
Yeah, because it looks really ugly.
You know that threw me off when I found out that was CG because I thought it was real. I thought it was a real
Oh,
armor.
well, there you go.
I guess props to Man of Steel, but we're talking about Dune. Not to get sidetracked.
Yeah, when it gets started talking about fucking Men of Steel. Anyway,
Fair. Back to
back to Dune.
Dune. Yeah, there's a lot of information thrown at you.
Wait, are we still gonna talk about Paul?
Yeah, let's talk about Paul. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about Paul
So
because
I talked about the significance of the payoff. I don't know if you want to cover that
I
more.
don't. To me,
No.
I don't consider that payoff. For me, it didn't feel like payoff. For me, what felt like payoff was um, Paul's vision of the Holy War, in him choosing no, I'm no, no, and you see him visibly losing his mind over this holy war. He's the spice in him. Well, he's when you I guess the voice mixed with spice just gives you weird fucking visions. Um,
Yeah.
which it is a detail that Paul doesn't start having visions. It's dreams when he's on Caladan, but it's not visions until he gets to Arrakis and he interacts with the spice. Which that is a detail I noticed. Um, but for me, the scene where he's in the tent with his mother, losing his mind over the holy war in his father's name, and kind of deciding, wait, no, I don't want that. That seemed a little more like I guess, because him carving his own
That
path
seems more like a
in his destiny is very like I get it.
that seems like a payoff of the Holy War. Like the thing that you're mentioning in the 10 sounds more like a setup, and then the payoff would be him covering his own path. Sounds more like that than that being the payoff.
I don't know. I guess I just felt more connection to that because we got to spend the whole movie with, well, not the whole movie, but most of the movie with the Duke Leto and that family, and so him kind of recognizing that felt like something important. And
Yeah.
while the ending of the film does feel important, I wasn't grabbed by it. I wasn't connected to it because I wasn't very connected to Paul. And I've been trying to like find ways of explaining how I just don't give a shit about Paul. For me, there's no like key defining trait of Paul other than he wants to carve his own destiny. And while that's, I guess, relatable, because everyone
He
wants
wants,
to make
it's
something of
like,
themselves and be different, but
but you have to. I was gonna say you have to consider some facts that he's considering the fact of his father's death, and not so much what his father want him to become, but what his father is expecting from him
his
at
father
that
is
point.
expecting honestly nothing from him other than to just be his son.
Yeah.
He makes that perfectly clear. He's like, I don't care if you end up being the Duke or if you just end up being like a military general, just like as long as you're my son. Like that's it. That's all I need.
Mhm.
Because Leto makes it known that he didn't want to be the Duke either. He wanted to be a pilot.
Yeah.
Which is ironically just exactly what Luke Skywalker wanted to be. Or was that Anakin? Anakin wanted to be a pilot.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I guess I just felt more connection to that side because that was made explicitly clear to me. But the scenes of the film's ending which is much more left in the open and not conclusive, makes me scratch my head and go, okay, why am I not
Yeah,
connecting
I,
to this?
I was gonna
I
say
know you're bringing up points, but that's not helping me.
that's not what.
It feels like I have to take a history class to understand and like this
Yeah,
film and get connected to it when I should have just been captured in the story and you know understand this myself without having to hear it from you. I guess if that makes any sense.
oh, well, does me not explaining it to you, just giving you some points, help in any way?
But that's not helping because now it feels like I need to take notes.
Oh wow,
It feels like I had to do my homework.
really?
Yeah. And like I don't want to sound like just some like shithead casual. It's like I don't want to do my homework before watching a movie. But
I know
it's
you're
like
not a casual.
I don't
But
mind like having to I fucking love Lord of the Rings. Like you think I don't mind this shit. I don't mind it. But I do want some sufficient meat and some characters and some because this movie has world building and I appreciated the world building. I'm happy they took the time to do that. But I'm just more like I have no one to grab onto to be like, yes, I want to see you succeed. Because in the Lord of the Rings, you have Frodo and Sam, you have the rest of the Fellowship, you have the other characters going on that you want to see succeed, you want to see them win.
to be fair, Lord of the Rings has a lot of fucking characters.
That's very true, very very true. And it also didn't wipe out like half of them in the first movie.
Yeah, I really wanted to see more of Leto and
I wanted to see more of Duncan.
Jason Momoa. Yeah,
Oh,
Duncan.
I loved Duncan. He was cool. I like Duncan.
I hope Gurney's alive. I really like Gurney.
I would like to see more of Gurney. If he's alive, I'll see more of him.
I'm gonna say he is just because
No
there's definitely
body,
something
no
to go
body,
by there.
no
No,
body, no
no
death.
body.
Yeah, no
And if
body,
they
no
did
death.
kill him off screen, then I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, but the rule,
Like they
no
did say
body, no
that.
death.
I'm pretty sure they said that there are still people of Arrakis that are alive.
You mean the Atreides?
Yeah, Atreides. I what I got it confused. Yeah,
Two
I'm
A
pretty sure they
names.
said some. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they said some of the Atreides are still alive out there.
Yeah, maybe.
So with Gurney, it's very small, but I think it's very indicative of his character. So if you remember the scene where Leto, Paul, and Gurney met the lady
Yeah, voice
who
of
was
the
gonna guide them,
change.
yeah, voice of the change, and the part where she was going to check on Leto's suit and all the guards drew the swords. If you notice, it was Gurney who drew his sword first.
Yeah,
I think that's very indicative of his character, seeing how he is the first to act when the life of his his master, lord, or whatever might be in danger. Because we know Gurney cares very much about Paul and
but not the same way
Duncan
Duncan does.
and Leto. Yeah, not the same way.
If Duncan
And
is if Duncan's the big brother,
yeah,
um, Gurney's more the harsh uncle
hmm
or grandfather, right?
yeah.
Who's seen some shit.
You see that very much based on
Yeah.
his actions, like when they're training.
Well, the way he emphasizes words, like
hmm
when he's training with Paul, and he's not cutting him any slack like Duncan would, and he says
Yep.
like you need to be on your guard. They're brutal. Like they don't fight the same way we do.
You're not in the mood. I don't care that you're in the mood. They're not gonna care. And
And he
that's
like
for
he
his own good because he cares a lot about Paul.
yeah, but he won't show it the same way that someone like Duncan would, who you'll
The
come
parts
in
where
for a hug.
yeah, I do like the parts where he shows it when they're like, all comrades huddled up in the
Mhm.
in the barracks. That's what I want to
Yeah,
call them.
with Duncan, yeah.
When Duncan, because they're very happy to see their friend back.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really want to see more of him. His reaction to everything, the Duke dying,
Yeah.
Duncan dying, and you know
But if he's
Paul's
dead,
fate. If he's I'm gonna be pissed. That's gonna be. I'm not gonna like that.
yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. And it's helps that he's also Josh Brolin. Helps a lot too.
Yeah.
I like Josh Brolin.
I do too.
Oh, and Duncan, he's
Duncan,
great.
yeah, it was great. I loved Duncan. Duncan was great. He was tons of fun.
That's the fun. Too bad he wasn't in the movie a whole bunch. No.
Nope.
I
Which I
guess we could
guess we
talk
should.
about what was
Yeah,
great. What's great about Duncan?
because he dies.
He dies.
He dies. This movie was very mismarketed.
So, because I didn't really see much of the marketing for the movie.
They did a lot of. They marketed it as this big, epic action film with a lot of spectacle and a lot of things going on. Like, ooh, it's so epic and grand. You just gotta go see it. And it's none of those things. Well, it's big
Definitely big.
and it's grand and it's got a lot of spectacle, but it's not an action film. There's like 2 action scenes, maybe
Uh,
like 2 big set
wait. Oh,
pieces.
we gotta separate action and fighting. So
Well,
action, I guess you could consider the them saving the workers at the farm
I guess
for the
okay,
spice.
okay. So
That's an
there's
action piece, right?
set pieces and general action.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, there's like a couple set pieces and then a bunch of small stuff.
Right. Set pieces, basically everything with the worm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
Which
I
is
have
like,
to say I felt a little underwhelmed by the worm
yeah.
because they kind of spent the entire movie building up the worm and then I don't know, it's just kind of a worm. It's a big worm. They teased the Fremen riding the worms in the
That
end,
was that was something.
and
Reminds
I
me
was
of
like, How to Train Your
reminded me of
Dragon.
fucking no, Breath of the Wild.
Hmm.
How you're in the desert, you get to ride these
Yeah, yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah, yeah.
sea otters. Yeah. That,
Well,
obviously
because
not that is big, but
no,
little.
because it's like hey, I feel like something that should have been way cooler, way bigger. Like, whoa, they're riding the worm, and I was like, oh, they're
Mhm.
riding the worm.
I would have saved that
Like,
for the
it
next
didn't
movie.
even connect in my mind. I was like, just like,
Oh, he's right. They're riding the worm.
it's like, oh, they're
That's
just riding
cool.
the worm. Yeah,
Nice. Nice.
cool,
Maybe I would have saved that for the next movie. That could be like a.
cool, like a reveal. It's like,
You
whoa,
know,
they can
I'm
ride the
sure.
worm.
Here's the thing. I'm sure they're trying to make it a fucking setup and then a payoff in the next
Yeah.
movie. But man, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Avatar is gonna do it better with the birds.
Oh, yeah. There's more spectacle to it in Avatar.
No, I'm talking about the whole thing about Jake
Oh
uh
yeah, he's got to connect. He's
taming,
got to connect to it. Yeah.
yeah, taming the bird.
Yeah.
And it's really stupid too because he had to fight it instead of
Yep.
taming it like naturally. But okay,
It's like whatever.
whatever.
This movie kind of reminded me of Avatar a bit in that it's a lot of
That's like
pretty.
I sound like it's really bad. Oh,
No,
it's very pretty.
no,
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
it's very pretty with not too much under it. But I definitely liked this more than Avatar.
Yeah.
It's a. I'll probably buy
Oh,
it on
it's
4K. Like
so I fucking better. This is just way fucking better than Avatar.
I know you have a special hatred for Avatar in your heart.
It's just really bad. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. I don't hate Avatar. I don't particularly
Well, I
like
don't hate
it.
Avatar.
I don't particularly like it, but I
Yeah.
hold no hate in my heart towards Avatar.
I guess I'm a bit salty about its box office. Maybe that's probably it. Like,
Yeah, no, yeah, no, no,
really,
no. You're just salty. It's not even like hatred. You're just salty.
you're the highest grossing film of all time. You.
Well, it hadn't been done before.
That's true.
It was definitely like it was. You had to go see it at an IMAX to like properly
You know,
experience it.
You know what? Makes more sense for that to be the highest grossing film of all time than fucking Titanic.
Oh yeah, way more.
Titanic is a better film, I guess. But I guess Avatar makes more sense based on what it is.
I'd rather watch Avatar again than Titanic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'd
Avatar is
rather watch Avatar.
fun.
I
Avatar's
can just
fun.
I can just put
Honestly,
Avatar on and be like, pretty colors.
I like the music.
Oh yeah, I like parts of
Anyway,
Avatar. The action was fun.
yeah, Dune.
Back to Dune. But yeah, this movie reminds me of Avatar a bit because it's clearly a IMAX theater experience. It's gonna be that new barometer for
Uh,
your TV kind of movie.
yeah, I wish they fucking told me that before I said on HBO Max.
I know, right? It's not like they were constantly going see it in theaters. And even critic screenings, they were at IMAXs. They were not in regular multiplexes. They were at IMAXs. That's where they did the critic screenings. I was like, oh, you motherfuckers got to see it the way it was intended.
Why did they do that? Like, they know not many people are gonna go see no fucking IMAX. They know this, so
True.
stop.
But it's the same way that the Gemini Man was released in like 140, 120 frames per second.
Really?
You know, they did that. They did a
Oh wow.
4K, 120 frames per second in 3D showings of Gemini Man because that's how it was shot.
You need to see young Will Smith. You really need to see
In
young Will Smith.
really high frame rate.
It really high frame rates.
In 3D.
Don't fall asleep, because you did.
I did. And I saw that movie in 24 frames per second at home on my TV, and I fell asleep because it was
pretty.
boring. I watched like 15 minutes of it, and then I fell asleep. Like, and then I woke up, and the movie was halfway over, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll turn this off." I was like, "Yes, I'm not gonna watch this." Same with Robin Hood. I fell asleep during Robin Hood.
The new one?
Yeah,
That's funny.
it was a very boring movie. What can I say?
I bet.
It was also very bad.
I bet too.
It was also very funny because it was very bad.
So
It didn't make any sense historically.
and you fell asleep?
And I fell asleep.
How could you? If it's funny, you can't fall asleep to it.
Well, because it was funny when it started, and then it just got really boring.
Yeah.
And then I fell asleep. Back to Dune, a movie I didn't fall asleep.
This is the movie.
But, you know, I feel like it would make sense if someone fell asleep during Dune. Shit, someone fell asleep at our No Time to Die screening. I think it makes sense if somebody falls asleep at Dune.
Someone did?
Yeah, the dude next to you
I had no idea.
was snore in.
Wow.
Like loud snoring.
I didn't notice.
I guess you were just sucked into the movie.
But yeah, not in the good way though.
Yeah. I guess I wasn't because I heard him. Anyway, Dune.
Yeah.
Back to Dune. We kind of were just talking about Paul for a while there.
Yeah.
And his relationship.
But I think we come to the conclusion you don't really feel much for him. I'm like, I differ.
Yeah. The movie didn't do, I guess, enough for me to like fully care about Paul.
Yeah. You know
But
what?
it did enough for you, so you know, props to the movie there. It did something.
I'll say this. I think the movie would have had a better ending if they showed us the perspective of more than Paul. Like, I don't know if this is just me liking Gurney a lot, but if they showed Gurney and what he was doing, that would have been pretty neat. If they showed Dave Bautista and his thing and his uncle, that would have been pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
If they just showed off more perspectives on the ending, then that would have been a lot more satisfactory.
Satisfactory.
Yeah, satisfactory. And I don't know if that was the word or not, but
or satisfying.
There it is. I forgot. I forgot how to speak English.
It's not your first language.
It ain't. Yeah, that would have been a lot more satisfying. Would have been a lot more satisfying. because we got a lot more perspective, and it really hypes us up a lot more for the future. I'd
Because
say because
all we get in the end of this is Sandworm writing, and Zendaya tells
yeah,
us there's gonna be a sequel.
because you know what, Fellowship does this,
Mm-hmm.
and Infinity War kind of does this.
Yeah, Empire.
So
Empire
Empire does
is another
this.
one of those movies that has like just an ending.
Revenge of the Sith does this.
That was more
So
conclusive.
hmm,
That was a little more conclusive.
it was definitely a lot more conclusive.
Yeah, it was way more conclusive.
Oh, well, I mean, I love Revenge of the Sith ending. I ain't gonna lie.
It's not a bad
Like,
ending.
hmm,
It's not a bad ending.
it's not.
Nope.
But yeah, I definitely agree with everything you said about the ending, and that's why I brought up that point
Mm-hmm.
that they could have done that rather than really leave it so close-minded.
Yeah. Or not
But
even like close-minded, just like it it just stops.
mm-hmm,
Like that's it. It just ends.
yep,
And it sounds like we are kind of harping on this ending a lot. We should probably talk a little more about the movie in general in other places. But it, what you're gonna take from a movie, um, the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie are very significant. As you need to start strong and you need to end it strong. And this movie started mild and ended even milder. Like the movie's more interesting throughout it than it is at the end. But I guess we should talk about dialogue because it's not great in in my opinion.
in certain aspects or overall.
And more of like it's very expository and it feels kind of flat and not like the acting is bad. The acting is very good throughout the film. Um,
Um,
I know you have your thoughts on Chalamet, but I thought the acting was good overall. It was very good
yeah,
acting.
no, acting's pretty good.
Yeah, that Jamis actor needed to chill the fuck out. Literally shaking and screaming. But
I think
mhm,
the dialogue, the exposition works at certain points, but not always.
no, not always.
Like
Because it
I
feels
guess
very let me stop and tell you something. It doesn't feel like it's woven kind of in naturally.
I think everything with the lemon isn't.
The
Did I say
Fremen?
that right? The
Fremen.
Fremen.
You said
Yeah, the
lemon.
Fremen. I know I said lemon. I needed to make sure that was the correct name. The Fremen. Very hard to say Freeman sometimes. With the Fremen isn't very good dialogue wise. Don't say that.
It's a lot of prophecy speaking.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
visible in the end.
Oh yeah. This
Whereas
is only the
Zendaya is
beginning.
the one
Oh
is
my
the one to start expositioning all the time.
Zendaya. I really hope you didn't. I really hope people didn't come to this movie for Zendaya
No, why
because
would you?
you're gonna be so let down because she's barely in the movie, but she's in it throughout. But she maybe has like 15 minutes.
Her presence is known.
But you don't learn her name until the end.
You gotta know what the fuck she's doing in those little dreams. In
Nope.
those wet dreams that Paul has. I'm gonna call them
Yep.
wet dreams. It's funny.
Dreams, visions.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what her purpose is at all.
She's gonna kill him? No. Are you sure? Yeah.
No, guess not. I don't know.
Guess not. Oh no, she is. Wait, is she? I don't know. You know what? You know what I think is gonna happen? I think Paul is gonna kill her.
Maybe
More of him denying his
destiny.
destiny and carving his
Maybe
own.
he'll be so scared of his destiny and want to do something different that he actually becomes the holy warmongering
God
man
damn,
that
why
he
does this
doesn't
guy die a
want.
lot in his dreams, bro?
He does die a lot in his dreams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just the worst luck.
He's oh my god, he's got the Shulk Monado power.
That's a reference.
He can see into the future and can change it.
Oh my god.
This is the Monado power.
That, you know what it sounded like?
Hmm?
This is Katana. He's
She's
got
got
my
my
back.
back. Best, I advise not get killed by her. Her soul traps the souls of its victims.
That's a good line. I don't know what people are talking about. Katana should have been in the Suicide Squad. She should have.
She should have, honestly.
Yeah. Anyway,
This is Katana. She's got my back.
yeah. This is dialogue. He's got my exposition.
This is this character. This is what she does. She's associated with me.
Exposition
Man.
is very much necessary when the characters don't know, but we also don't know. Like a good line of dialogue is everything with not everything. The beginning with Leto and Paul.
Mhm.
That was pretty neat. And
Well,
like
when they
that,
need to explain to us the world, that's when it's like, okay, exposition is fine.
yeah. But, the part where Leto was, explaining his love to his own son.
Yeah.
That was pretty neat. Good character
Yeah.
moment for
I
Leto.
wouldn't even
Leto's
have. Oh, well, I mean, there was some exposition there, but it wasn't like
no, there was,
it
but
was mixed in with the, with the character moment.
it's definitely mixed in also with a tease of what Paul
Yeah.
might do.
You little
I'm
Aragorn
sad.
fuck.
I'm sad. I'm not sad, little death, but I kind of wish he didn't die. I wanted to see more of him.
Yeah, I wanted to see more of him. He also went out, not even
He went out.
accomplishing what he wanted, what he was
Yeah,
trying to do in his last moments, which is just like
at
an
least
extra, which is like an extra layer of fuck.
he probably went out believing that.
He
Like,
did. He 100% did.
yeah, at least he went out like a G.
He did.
Say that.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Went out strong.
Man, a character I didn't give a shit about was the Asian guy. I forget his name, but
Oh, Dr. Ewan.
yeah,
He clearly cares about Paul enough that he's like, I'm gonna like leave aside a bunch of shit for Paul.
hmm
Um, he also taught Paul Mandarin,
yeah.
so
Which I guess
Paul knows multiple languages.
so that
Which
helps with us knowing that it is in the very distant future. So
yeah,
places like
what did it say?
China
Like
and America
what did it
exist.
say? Like 10,001 or something like that.
10,040 some two or
Yeah,
something.
it's 10,040.
Yeah.
I was like,
So,
oh, okay,
oh
yeah, we're
man,
way out there.
we're way out there, bro.
Yeah,
What's Halo's timeline like? 25 something?
20, yeah, maybe something like that.
They're like
24,
27.
yeah, somewhere in there.
Halo's far ahead, but Dune beats it out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
hmm
Yeah.
I'll say for I guess being so distant in the future, the world of Dune feels a little small based on what we see. Because we see 3 planets as a
Yeah,
whole.
3 planets in total.
Yeah, and we don't really see much of the civilization and how they work. Like no large scale cities, not the people going by their daily days and whatnot, and world building. That has it, but that would have been neat detail to know more of how the people in that world live, because we know how royalty lives,
Yeah.
but not the people. Oh man, what example am I gonna bring out? Oh, Lord of the Rings. Oh boy, ho ho ho.
It's a good example.
That's a good example. It's probably the best. It's probably the best kind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Harry Potter. Oh.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, you better stop that. Oh, Star Wars.
Ones that have done it so much better.
Oh, the first 3 movies.
Yep.
Yep. Anywho,
Yeah, anywho.
feels a little small for supposedly being very large scale. I hope we see more of the Imperium.
We probably will.
Because it's houses, right?
Houses, yeah. We've only seen two of the houses.
Yeah. Did it say how many there are as a whole? How many there are?
No, I don't think they did.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna assume it's like 7. It's always 7.
It's usually
Something like that.
something
Yeah.
like that. 6 or 7.
The 7 houses of the Imperial.
3 houses. Fire Emblem. 3
Fire
houses.
Emblem.
Available now for the Nintendo Switch system.
No, put it on Steam. No.
It
No.
That'll never go on Steam. That's yeah. But emulation
It's
is a
okay.
thing.
It's okay. I have a Switch. I'll
It's
play
okay.
it
It's okay,
eventually.
guys. Emulation is a thing.
I'll play it. I have a Switch. I'll play it eventually. I promise you.
Emulation is a thing. Just don't emulate a game that just came out.
Metroid Dread.
That game literally got emulated as soon as it came out.
I know, right? It's
That
crazy.
was some crazy shit. Like motherfucker, this game just came out.
Nintendo
Like,
be like, no.
if you're broke, I get it, but come on,
Come on, bro.
come on, bro.
Support games. Support that game,
Yeah,
please.
support certain games. It's like, yeah, please support this. Don't
Yeah,
pirate
support that
it.
game. We need more Metroid.
Yeah, please.
We don't have enough. We don't have enough Metroid anymore.
We don't.
It's so sad. Now, can you support Metal Gear now?
No,
So sad.
it's Konami.
Oh, anyway, back to Dune. Before I cry.
Yeah, back to Dune.
We were talking about yeah, the world.
Yeah,
Very small, but
it
but
feels
it's
very
effective.
populated, but nobody has anything to say. Like
We assume it's populated. Like, do
we
they do
assume
do they do galactical travel?
they clearly
Do
do.
they travel galaxies?
They clearly do.
Like, no, I mean like galaxies, from galaxy to galaxy. I'm sure they, of course, they do extraterrestrial
Planetary travel.
planetary travel. That's
Yeah,
evident.
but it wasn't particularly known if Caladan and Arrakis are in the same system.
Ah,
Unless that was a detail I missed, I don't know if it is in the same system. But I don't know.
they didn't talk much about the space travel
Yeah, they didn't.
because I'm pretty sure we're just gonna spend the whole, I guess, franchise in the fucking desert.
Yeah, on Arrakis. There's probably going to be a
Yeah,
war on Arrakis.
Arrakis might get boring. I don't know.
Oh boy, might it.
Because Middle Earth was pretty big, and every place was pretty diverse wherever you went. So
Yeah, every place was diverse in Middle Earth. There was very different people wherever you went.
mm-hmm.
If you
So
go
very
to
different.
if you go to the center of Minas Tirith and
Yeah, there's fucking
more Mordor, you'll get more humanoids and some goblins. But Minas Tirith is like, and specifically like the Gondorian era and Rohan and the horse people. You're definitely gonna find like straight up humans, straight up
yeah, man.
just men.
Then
But then you
then
go,
there's a shrine.
but then you go to places, like Rivendell and the Mirkwood. You're gonna find elves.
Yeah,
Which even Mordor, there's like details of like Mordor was started of like dark elves and stuff like that.
yeah.
Sauron was an elf.
hmm So I'm pretty sure maybe they haven't unveiled everything that planet are or
Caladan.
help me out, huh?
You're talking about Caladan, or you're talking about Arrakis or Harkonnen?
Arrakis, everything that Arrakis has to
Arrakis.
offer. I'm sure there's more to it than we've seen so far.
Probably.
I hope so.
I hope so.
I can only take so many sandworms.
Oh man. Yeah, what if the second one is like way worse?
It can't be. This is
Can
like
it?
that's the payoff. thingy. That's the movie
Mockingjay.
that is the movie that I'm basically saying, okay, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, please.
Mockingjay.
Oh, Mockingjay's really bad though.
Well, part two wasn't that bad, but part one, yeah. No, no, no issue. The book
I
is
haven't seen part two.
all right.
I haven't seen part two.
The book is all right. It just goes into more detail.
For which one?
The
Both?
book, Mockingjay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the books in
Sorry, I don't.
general. The books in general, yeah, just go into way more detail about the world.
Sorry, I don't read teen books.
He says, reading Dune.
Doing the teen book. Doing the teen book.
It's it's like it can be put in the YA section, but no kid is gonna read that.
Yeah, I don't think I found it in the
It's
YA
it's
way.
like it's like putting the Lord of the Rings there. It's technically a children's book, but like, is any kid gonna read it? It's 1,000 pages. What kid is gonna read the Lord of the Rings?
Also, it's written weird.
Yes, I mean, The Hobbit was released as a children's book.
Was that written weird?
The Hobbit, it's written
Yeah.
the exact same way.
Oh, it's always written weird.
Yeah, it's Tolkien.
Yeah.
Tolkien was a languages professor. That's what he knew.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, his creating Middle Earth came from his study of languages, and kind of wanted to create his own language.
He made a language.
He sure did.
He invented a language for elven people.
Many languages.
How the fuck did you do that?
He did it.
Ah,
He did it.
I'm jealous of him.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I think we've. Unless you've got a couple more things to add about Dune, I think I've about summed up my end of it. I guess if I wanted to throw in one last thing, um, the action was kind of lame. There's a lot of like wire work that didn't look very good.
I wasn't impressed by the action, that's for sure.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. This is from the guy that made Sicario. Come on.
I don't know if it's by the fact that they're using fucking really tiny swords.
Yeah.
Like, oh man,
I think it was the wire work for me. It just, or like
man,
the camera cutting,
I,
and it just didn't
I
look
keep,
interesting.
I
It's like he
fucking,
didn't have any interesting shots to kind of like
yeah.
put together.
And oh boy, here I go. I keep fucking going back to Lord of the Rings. And
Well, Lord of the
the
Rings had its problems with its action.
Well, talk about the first movie. Only the first movie.
Oh, the first movie had it the worst.
I think the first movie had really good fight scenes.
Yeah, but it was a lot of shaky camera, really close up. There was a lot of wonky shots
I'll
where
say
you
that.
couldn't really see what was going on. But yeah, no,
I
it's
can give you
leagues
that.
better what was done here.
But
it's more chaotic.
Dune has good camera work for its action.
But
I think
way lamer action.
Yeah, it's just really lame. It's really samey, and it's like Black Panther. I'm sorry, but Black Panther has lame action and fight scenes, except one fight scene.
I'm not arguing with you on that.
Yeah, except the one in the waterfall. That one's pretty.
Oh, the ones in the waterfall, yeah, are pretty cool.
Or I mean the one with Killmonger and T'Challa. Only that one. Yeah, that one's pretty neat.
Yeah,
very punchy, but I don't know, man. It feels like watching an MMO fight, kind of.
An MMO or MMA?
MMO. MMA? No, wait, MMA is way better than this.
I was like, MMO is a video game.
Yeah. You know the way they fight there?
Oh, just hit.
Yeah, hit. It feels like that. It's like that.
Hit. Yeah. Okay. No. Okay, I get it. I thought you were just being you for a second, and we're completely mixing words. And I was like,
I don't think I would mix up MMA and MMO.
Would you?
I'm a fan of MMA. That's like confusing with WWE. I'm not insane.
Well, you would never confuse WWE with anything. But
I would never would. I know that thing too fucking well now.
Yeah.
Throw me.
Yeah. Yeah. If you got
but yeah, it felt very very samey. The fighting. No one felt unique, unlike Lord of the Rings, where every character had a different fighting style, and the action was very creative too. Because in Dune they were really stuck on just having one guy fight
A few
uh,
guys.
a few guys in the same room
Mhm.
and winning until he's not winning anymore.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
was.
the fucking the storming of the base could have been a cool action scene, but no,
Nope. Oh,
having
and
a
that
all
that vision of the Holy War where we see Paul in the golden armor was the most CGI I've seen this
it looked
year.
like Power Rangers,
It oh my it did.
like in 2017 Power Rangers.
It
Didn't it, huh?
did.
It did. Now that I'm thinking
I
about it, it was very Power Ranger-y.
I like the Power Rangers one more.
Huh.
Sorry.
what, are you, what are your thoughts?
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, you should have done better.
I'm sorry. Do not be sorry.
But
Be
be
better.
be better. Do not be sorry.
Be better.
Boy,
Boy,
I do not care.
I do not know. No. Uh, what else can I put? The main villain, the fat albino. Do stuff. I like the actor a lot. Do not waste him. Do stuff that's cool or intimidating.
Don't just
You are
have them float.
he is there
We
for
all float
like
down here.
he is there like for like 4 fucking minutes, and he wasn't very intimidating.
At
I
all.
like this. I like the stuff that he said, but I don't know.
There's one creepy shot with him, and when he's climbing up the wall. That was creepy. But yeah.
Like this is a little bit of waste of fucking potential. But maybe if you had David Bautista's character, like be really cool at fighting, and like fucking people up overall, and then you see him cower in the glaze of his uncle. You have something there. Like, God fucking damn it! I'm getting real frustrated with these potential ideas they could be fucking doing, but they don't do them because they don't
Nope.
think about them. Like, Stellan Skarsgård is he's a pretty intimidating guy. I don't know about
He
you. His
can be,
voice,
yeah.
he can be the way he looks at people. He can be,
He can be.
and you'd think as a really fat albino he would, but not this time.
Nope.
And
It could have been
especially
any actor in that
and
role.
especially given the fact that they kind of have him act like a loser, not so much like uh, his defining moment is almost dying,
Hmm.
basically, and it's like it's like you're kind of already losing your aura of intimidation
Yeah.
or meaning. So
Oh well.
uh,
This is safe to say this is a disappointing movie.
I wasn't really looking forward to it that much, honestly.
I wasn't either, but I still feel disappointed.
No, I wasn't. I walked away from it thinking, oh, that was pretty neat. I liked it. There's a lot of potential here for stuff. The storytelling is niche
The
at best,
For
but
me, the real test is that second part.
the second part,
The second part,
yeah,
because that will either make this movie worse or
it
ten
really
times
needs to just
better.
yeah needs to justify it. I'd
It,
say.
yeah, it needs to justify barely doing anything in this one.
Yeah, but I think there's some I think there's some pretty clever character writing and bits and pieces of storytelling and some pretty neat yet flawed world building. Yeah, I enjoy Dune, but I see your points, and talking about it more just definitely brought my my thoughts on it down a lot more.
You see what I mean with like yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so yeah, what do you rate it?
I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Hmm.
I was hanging at a 8, back then, or 8.5
Oh
definitely.
wow.
But now it's like a 7.5 out of 10.
Well, I'm this is a fun significance where you're more positive on something than I am because I'm gonna give this a 5.5 out of 10.
Hmm.
I wasn't hot on this movie at all. It's hard for me to say this was very good, but if if that next one is like if that next one blows my ass out of the water, then this movie goes up.
For sure.
Yeah, like this literally the next one either destroys this one even more or makes it a million times better.
Yeah.
But that's I guess that's the kind of the world we're living in now, right? We're getting
Uh.
to experience what people before us experienced with Lord of the
Mhm.
Rings. They didn't get that full story, so it was relying on that next one to really make it better.
Yeah. Apparently, this movie could have benefited from a couple of scenes from the book.
It
I
also
hear from I hear from book readers that they could have had those scenes and would have been better.
yeah, it
Very
also
significant, I hear.
apparently the movie cut out the explanation for why the Harkonnens are white.
For what?
Apparently the movie cut out the reason why the
Harkonnens are albinos.
Harkonnens are albinos, which was in the
Oh,
book, but it's not explained
really?
in the film why they look
That
like that.
that would have been the explanation
I was like,
for
yeah,
world building.
that would have been a cool explanation.
World building is plot, guys. You gotta focus on this stuff.
But I guess they
You
didn't
see,
want to take too much time away from the story.
this is what I'm talking about. World building being good but flawed in this film.
Maybe that's why it's been in the film book because there's so much you have to set up, so much you have to go over. Maybe it should have been a TV show.
I don't think you should set this fucking thing up and like explain what the albinos are albinos in the second movie that you already kind of missed your mark
No,
on.
you've already missed it. Don't tell me why
Like
now.
unless your goal is to focus more on the Harkonnens, sure, but I don't think you will because it's your
Yeah,
only movie that you have left. So
unless you suddenly get a part three. But it was never envisioned as a part one, part as a part two, part three. It's just a part one, part two. So yeah,
I won't lie to you. Watching this movie, I was trying to imagine the scenes where it would have ended. Just okay, it's gonna end here because of course it's gonna here. No, it's gonna here. Oh, it ended there. Cool.
it's like oh, it just
Like
ended.
it really could have had a worse ending on where it left off. Like really, I thought it was gonna end up at the warm part where Paul was facing the worm. I thought it was gonna end it like, are you gonna end there?
Yeah, I guess
Because
maybe. Yeah,
that'd be terrible. But no, it didn't end there. It ended a lot later on. Thankfully.
yeah, I guess so. That could have been like that.
The sand walk is funny.
It is very funny.
But notice how there are actually points where they stop doing it and the camera cuts.
Yep.
Glad you noticed. I saw it too.
Yep. I was like, all right, you're gonna tell me that this is the specific walk you have to do. When's it gonna stop being the walk they have to do? And then they stop doing it immediately
And they die.
because they're not doing the sand walk. That doesn't attract the sandworm.
It could have been like a new Snorlax pit.
Maybe.
Except the moves. Yeah.
Oh well.
That was our coverage of Dune. Did you like it? Did you enjoy it?
Oh, we're doing that
Please
now.
like and
We're
subscribe
doing that
if you
now.
did. Like and subscribe if you did.
Oh, okay, we're doing
Share
that now.
this video online to your
No,
friends and families.
no, okay.
Make sure your mother sees this. She will laugh at my
Oh
funny jokes.
no, don't make your mother watch this. Don't do that to her.
I have John Cena as my profile pic. It's good enough, huh? Because you know what that means? You can see me. Boop, 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 boop.
The the Suicide Squad is now out on Blu-ray and DVD and 4K and digital. So go watch that if you didn't get a chance to see it. And it seems a lot of people didn't since it bombed very hard.
Oh.
So please watch The Suicide Squad.
Yeah, let's give the people some good old sci-fi recommendations. What you got?
Set
Sci-fi.
recommendations? Oh, sci-fi
Yeah, yeah.
recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
Let me turn around and look at my movies real quick. Better sci-fi movies. Well, you go first while it gives me a moment.
You piece of shit. Okay, you can go watch you can go watch Blade Runner. That's a pretty neat movie. Called classic, underrated. You can go watch the first two Alien movies because they're pretty neat and nice. But you see, this is pretty neat stuff. You can go watch Wally, one of the best movies ever made. People who say otherwise are wrong. You can also go watch 2001: Space Odyssey. I haven't seen it, but I hear it's very good.
Yeah,
Does Planet of the Apes count as sci-fi?
yes.
Go with Planet of the Apes.
All right, I'm gonna make a couple recommendations here. My main recommendation is actually going to
Oh, Starship
be
Troopers and Total Recall. Go watch those two.
well, I was gonna go Total Recall,
Uh,
but I am gonna change now and go Ghost in the Shell, the original 1990
wait,
whatever the
that
fuck.
counts? Thought I was
Are
more.
you really asking me if that counts? Sci-fi.
Oh, I don't know. I separate sci-fi and cyberpunk as a genre, but yeah, I guess that counts.
It's science fiction, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, go watch Ghost in the Shell,
Oh, definitely
and
goes in the shell.
as
And
just
Akira.
or in
Akira.
Akira, yeah, or if you're looking for something a little more casual, go and watch iRobot with Will Smith.
Go and watch that movie for sure, but not for the.
Not for
Oh,
the serious commentary at all.
you did say it's casual,
Yeah,
so
if you're looking for
it's a
something
funny.
just something easy to watch,
It's
iRobot
a,
is perfect for that.
it's pretty funny. I know
I like
it's a
that movie
funny
a
movie.
lot. I like the movie. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. But yeah.
For sure.
Thank you all for
Yeah,
watching, and yeah, we'll see you next time when we talk about whatever movie. I don't even know at this point.
I'm gonna try to get him to watch Train to Busan. Train to Busan. We're gonna do that. He's got to watch Train to Busan.
I will try to watch Train to Busan, but no promises at this point. All right.